Alright, hello. Alright, three, two, one, go. So, welcome to Spyrothon. We're gonna start with the usual Spyro 1 any percent, followed by 2 and 3 any percent. Unfortunately, you're gonna have to put up with me for Spyro 1 any, as well as 80 Dragon later. So, right away, you're gonna see this dragon named Nestor right in front of us, so we just ignore, and we're gonna bonk into that, because I can't time my inputs correctly. Nestor has a roughly 20-second cutscene you just can't skip, so we don't get him. But we're gonna get every other dragon that is on our way. So we need 10 dragons to get through Artisans. By the end of the game, we're gonna need 50 dragons, 6,000 gems, and 5 dragon eggs. And the first homeworld, Artisans, there's really not much to do. For the most part, we're just going to get the dragons and rushing through the levels. And there's actually a couple of things to Artisans coming up soon, but aside from that, these levels are pretty empty. They're filled with a lot of low-value gems. They're just not worth going for. So up here, there's a little slope here. You can charge jump up certain slopes, at least, to gain a little extra speed. And you're going to see use of rolling, which is always cool to see in runs. Okay, so that's one of the interesting things. There's actually a skip to this level. You can also miss a boar, which will lead you to missing another boar. And that's all we're going to do here in Stone Hill. So as far as movement goes in this game, it's important to just try and make a straight beeline as much as possible. You know, obviously there's the joke of holding square. It's all you do in these games, which is true, don't get me wrong. But there are some minor things, like, for example, there, that whirlwind. You'll want to end your charge and time a jump just right so that you can carry the momentum from the charge into the jump. And that's actually something you do pretty frequently throughout the entire game. Like there. That, what I just explained helped me accomplish that. And it's also going to help me accomplish this. Or fail it. Oh my god. Okay. I go off the side there because I personally find it easier to get up there from going to the side, even though it's technically more dangerous, because, you know, there's water down there, you can easily die. Otherwise, this level would take forever. And then that's the last level we're going to be doing, even though there are 5 levels in each homeworld. We're only going to do 2. Alright, so that's a wall glide. You can glide along certain sloped walls rather, and you can maintain or even gain height. You can actually enter Toasty with that wall glide, but Toasty is completely worthless in any percent. But that is Artisans, and from now on the run's going to pick up a little more. So up next is Peacekeepers, as you can see. The requirement here is 1,200 gems, and we're definitely going to pick up the pace as far as collecting gems goes. So flame charging, as you can see me doing here, you're not supposed to flame while charging, but if you let go of charge, you can flame immediately after if you time it right, and then go back to charging, and if you time it just right, you can have gems from enemies home in. I didn't get it. Wow. It's because my positioning was just super awkward, but you saw fan chests in Town Square, and you saw one just there. It had this interesting property where the fan part, once you destroy it, will go flying outward and can destroy objects and kill enemies, and ideally it would get used for a Nork coming up in the level, but I didn't get it. So there's a skip in this level I'm gonna go for, but I'm probably not gonna get it. It is a tough one, actually tough, unlike the ones in Artisans. Got it. And also, another seemingly minor detail about this game, at least, that helps you accomplish some of those tougher jumps, like the one I just did there. So, whenever you glide in this game, for whatever reason, they made it so it takes a couple of seconds for you to build up momentum and full speed. But you can completely bypass that by charging right before a glide. And that usually involves literally just sliding my thumb from square to X. I don't bonk there normally, but I'm so glad I saved it at least. In fact, you can probably hear the clicking from my controller. Oops. Which is an OG PS1 controller. Which, should probably talk about analog versus D-pad for this game, because there is a bit of talk about it. Generally, analog is considered objectively better. The reasoning I often hear is that you get less pivots. However, also I've heard that there's faster menuing on analog as well. That rocket is just barely out of reach, but because the flame extends very far outward, you can reach it from there. But I use D-pad because I'm a scrub, and it's also what I'm comfortable with. Probably explain why I'm so bad, haha. I messed that up greatly. And I want that gem because ideally you do want to leave behind gems if you miss them and just get backups later on, but I am a little bitch. Also, there's a trick I don't do, because it's fairly tough. Well, there's two parts to it. There's a proxy involving the Big Mama at the start of the level, and that's not actually the tough part of the skip. But you do a squeeze proxy with the Big Mama. And then after that, you have to do a jump off the slope right there to the left, up to the cliff, and that's what I find to be the tough part of it. Personally, at least. There's a faster route you can do for this home world. It involves a fairly tough jump, though, and doesn't save all that much time. Alright, so first speedway we're gonna do, Night Flight. We didn't do Sunny Flight because it takes too long to open, and the level itself also just takes too long. But we're gonna do every other speedway. So, general rule of speedways is that the closer you are to water, the faster you will accelerate. This doesn't mean you want to just immediately dive to the water, because you have to be mindful of going up as well, because that... Another important thing about speedways is how I mentioned the flame extends outward. In these levels in particular is where it can come in handy. This is the only speedway that doesn't involve a cycle of some kind as well, interestingly enough. And then I guess this is the most interesting part of the speedway here. Apparently that's really, really hard to do in SRT because of the different physics. And then that was an animation skip. Spyro will normally fly upward and see the collectibles add up together or whatever, and it takes a while. But if you have Spyro bonk into a wall, just completely skip it. And speaking of animation skips... Oh, I didn't even get the thief, that's sad. If you flame charge jump the thief, normally the game would stop you completely in your tracks, but because you're in the air, the game doesn't stop you, and you just keep going despite the cutscene. So I'm gonna ignore that thief for now and get a backup later on in the route. So, first boss level of this game, Dr. Ass himself. I still can't get over his design in SRT. Like, there's not really a whole lot of things in SRT I just don't like, but why did they give Shemp that butt? Why? I will never get over this. But anyway, this level features these big mamas, as I mentioned in the last level. And they throw these Norks towards you who will just charge into suicide for them. Anyway, Dr. Shemp is right here. He's pretty tough, honestly, all things considered. I said all things considered, right? So, Ice Cavern is next, and I like this level a lot. It's one of my favorites. Ooh. So, one thing I should notice, especially with those big Norks, is when they die, their hitboxes are still solid and you can bonk into them. So it's important to know how to navigate around them, because some of them especially can get really big. Bonking in the stairs. I guess I should mention, this game in general is very momentum-based, and a lot of it is about just carrying your momentum. Like I mentioned earlier, how you can cut a charge and then jump in just the right way to carry your momentum from the charge into the jump to gain just a little more height. Things like that is what I'm talking about. Tried flame charging too quickly. I can see chat, yes. Alright, magic stairs. Yeehaw. Yee freaking haw. There are other places in this game where you could do magic stairs, but that's the most common and maybe easiest. Yeah, this game requires a lot of focus. Speedrunning in general requires a lot of focus. Ugh. Yeah, this is a tough game, so... I'm not responding to chat all that much. Like, remember, I'm trying to concentrate. This run hasn't gone the absolute best, so... It's not like it's really helping the nerves, so... That's Peacekeepers. Can't believe how fast I found so much stolen treasure. I could make the obvious joke, but I really don't want to. And by acknowledging it, I just kinda did. So, Magic Crafters. This is where things truly, really ramp up. We're gonna need 5 Dragon Eggs by the end of it, and the Dragon Eggs in this game are kind of an afterthought, if anything. They don't appear at all after this game. After this homeworld, rather. They do reappear in Spyro 3, what do I know, haha. Yeah. Just kinda who cares about them, honestly. Okay, that was kind of sloppy, and missing that one spring chest with the 10 gem was pretty bad. I haven't even mentioned spring chests, but also I should mention this level is pretty cycle dependent, especially with these stairs at the beginning. But spring chests. You might notice I actually jump before I flame them. And just very small optimization to deal with them. So another cycle is this wall. This one doesn't matter nearly as much though, because you can jump over it. Like that. And then this one matters more. Good. And then if I hold X and square here, you just go up there. Sometimes it doesn't work, and I honestly don't know why. If someone has an explanation, I'd like to know. Ah, I'm so bad. I need to stop missing gems. So next is probably one of the more famous skips. There's a bit of a wall they just didn't bother programming collision into. Saves like a couple of seconds, I think, maybe. Okay. So this is going to be the introduction of supercharging, and this level also features a cycle at the start. This one's actually really tough, though. Also, my disc is scratched, so the music glitches out here. I'm not gonna. It's like I'm trying to get that fodder because I don't want to be on green sparks. I also need to get that gem because I kind of need to stop missing gems, but it's these pillars that I'm talking about when it comes to the cycle. Alright, am I gonna get the proxy? Nope. But the way any percent especially sets you up with approaching that dragon, you can get a proxy, I think it is, off that fodder. Anyway, I'm not gonna go for the entirety of Fight Caves. I'm just gonna do that, playing it like a bitch. High Caves is one of the tougher strats in this run, where you take the supercharge to the end of this level, or this route, rather. So yeah, if you're good, unlike me, you can carry the supercharge all the way over here, and I don't need to go up that high now, but all the way here. is DeviantArt taking over fanfiction.net or something? Whatever. So, supercharge in the home world, that's unique, I guess. I'm gonna ride supercharge all the way into Lizard Peak. This level also has some extensive supercharge use, if you want to call it extensive. There's this wizard at the start, you want to flame charge jump before it gets onto that ledge. It's not really all that hard. I'd say flame charge jumps are more lenient in this game than the other two because you can mess up the inputs and still make it. Well, actually, not in 2. 2 is a bit of a different story. But I haven't played 2 in forever, so I just kind of forget about that. As far as I'm concerned, only 1 and 3 exist. I'm not even gonna go for it. I was scared, thought I wasn't gonna make it, but there are these 3 gems, 5 gems back here. If you either bonk into the wall with the supercharge or cut your supercharge off at just the right time, you can get the 5 gems through the wall. And ideally I would want to get the one furthest to the right through the wall. So that wizard there just kind of walks to the top. This is the backup thief, by the way, that I need. But the wizard walks to the top, and as it walks, spawn all the enemies. Almost got that, I bonked though. But you can kill him before he gets anywhere close to the end, and all the enemies spawn. I'm going too fast? No, I am not. If you think this is fast, then... That's my response. That was so bad. I'm actually really terrible at Dragon Skip. Also, I'm alright on gems. But I could be better. So this speedway is all about this plane cycle at the beginning, and I couldn't get that one plane because the debris, or specifically the Nork riding the plane, got in the way. So it's not actually all that big a deal because I'll have another opportunity to get that plane later. And generally, with those planes, the later the plane is you miss, the less punishing it is. But like I mentioned, with the flame just extending outward, it can especially help on those planes and being able to nail that cycle. And another animation skip. Alright, since you guys are talking about him, well, he's coming up soon, don't worry. I'd make some obvious joke about people making obvious jokes, but people are already making obvious jokes. So this level we more or less 100%. Everything except the 2 gem at the very end, ideally we do want to get. There's also a cycle in this level that matters a fair amount. These are the cycles in this cave, which are not ideal, but whatever. Those gems from those druids automatically home in, which is nice. That's blowhard. It's all magic crafters as well. It was fun while it lasted, wasn't it? I guess. Yeah, no more dragon eggs, those don't matter. On the Beastmakers, 50 dragons are required here. And it's actually the last homeworld to require dragons, not the final or at least second to last homeworld. You'd think it might be the other way around, but I guess it does make sense. So, here in Beastmakers, at least here in the very beginning, you're going to see these electric floors, which is meant to foreshadow the next level, Terrace Village, which, admittedly, it's pretty tough to optimize with all those electric floors. Doing it fast is tough. It's a pretty tough level. Anyway, cool little damage abuse strat there. These hogs are hard to flame charge. You have to get really close to them. Now Wild Flight. So this flight is all about the ending section, I think. Because there's a few deviations in the route you can do there. And it's all dependent on how well you can play everything leading up to it, how well you can cut all the corners and whatnot. Because if you aren't fast enough, you won't be able to do the faster ending route. I also don't go for it because bad. And of course, if you do the slower route and go too fast, then that can happen. That whirlwind is weird. So up next is one of the more infamous levels in the run. So infamous that it has a section named after a maximum security prison. This is Misty Bog. It's full of these frogs with these tongues that just get you from so far away. There's also these plants, I think, which are not hard to kill, but if they get you and swallow you, it loses a lot of time. I'll get those later, because I'll be back in that section later. Probably should have gotten that frog. got that at least. Alright. I'm sick of missing gems, so I really don't want to have to keep skipping more. Okay, so up next is Guantanamo. There's a ton of frogs. They're just gonna ram you down, mow you down if you don't know what you're doing. And that was highly dumb. Thankfully, this is any %, so we don't actually have to get everything. You can just get the bare minimum if we absolutely have to. So there's a boar outside the Misty Bog portal that, for whatever reason, just instantly dies when leaving the level. Don't know why, but it's convenient. Alright, so Treetops. This is actually my favorite level in the game. And it's also a lot of fun to run if it goes right. So we have this thief at the beginning and we want to essentially race to its destination. We're not going to win. Anyway, this level you just cheese to no end. So normally you're expected to chain the supercharges together, but you can jump just a bit after you actually physically leave the ramp, and it allows you to make it to here without having to chain supercharges. You can also do a bit of a U-turn, because there's another ramp that you're expected to normally use right next to that supercharge, and it can make it a little easier. It only loses like a couple seconds or so. Alright, got the quick kill on the thief. It's not the most important thing to get, but it is nice at least. Fodder is more important than a bunch of 2 gems sometimes. Alright, can I get this? You can break one or even both of those spring chests with the supercharge if you turn the correct way. It's pretty tough though. Okay, let's not dwell on that too much. That's Stone Knot, as it's been named. It's not hard, really. It's just knowing where to position yourself when supercharging across that wall, because you use it like a ramp. You just want to be like a bit left to on the left side, rather. Wording is hard, by the way. Although, I guess I could mention the PAL version now, because you can just make it up to that higher section on PAL without any additional supercharging. Also, I am on gems. Especially after that Guantanamo fiasco. So, that's what backups are for, especially here in Metalhead. I messed that up. So this level features these shielded Norks that will roll themselves to death. Normally I wouldn't get that, but remember how I mentioned backups? Haha. But they will roll to their death, and when they die, the game just automatically gives you their gems, which is nice. This level also has a cycle to it with the boss itself in Metalhead. Doing that without getting owned is dumb. Nice pivot. So, like, see those guys there? You might think, oh, just charge into them, it's better than getting those 1 gems, but now they'll just kill themselves and I'll get the gems and I can just get the 1 gems anyway. Anyway, here's the boss, Metalhead. Cycle dependent with these poles. You actually manipulate him in destroying his own poles on occasion. I think that goop right there is permadeath goop for whatever reason. All I remember is falling into it once and it killed me instantly, even though I was at full health. Alright, good on cycles. And that's Metalhead. There's a bit of cleanup in Peacemakers, but we have all the dragons we'll be getting. Not actually, but I'll explain that later. Yeah, I'm just gonna get some gems, because there's still a lot of gems we can get here. Nice. You can actually use charges, charge out of glides to gain height. I've used that on a few occasions in this run, primarily with the skip stun and artisans. It's also done in air. It's something developers didn't really think about, because a common theme in a lot of platformers of the air is that they put things just barely out of reach. So it means it's not all that hard to find ways of cheesing them. Alright, not the best of boosts, but at least I got it. As for Dreamweavers here, all we need are gems. So we're only gonna come 2 levels, and I just completely ignored the fact that I had green sparks. But we're just gonna do this flight, and then Jock for our final cleanup. So again, there is a cycle in the Speedway with trains. I should be able to make it, no problem. Yeah. And I guess these little helipack dudes or whatever they're using are also like an important cycle, I guess. So I'm pretty good on gems, all things considered. All those backups in Metalhead and Peacemakers paid off. I'm probably overgemmed. I'm pretty sure I am, yeah. Actually, like, a tiny bit? Or, no. I'm undergemmed. God. Okay, that was sad. Also, I didn't even realize I thought it was just one gem there, but okay. Okay. Alright, this run's been a train wreck, but, last homeworld, there's only a few levels we need to do, but I mentioned technically there's more than 50 dragons we get. Well, if we don't get this dragon, the Twilight Harbor Dragon head doesn't open up. You don't need to get the dragon, you could just do one of the most incredibly difficult skips ever in Codeless. Or you could do Rat Proxy, which is RNG based. So yeah, we're not doing any of those. I hate when that happens. It's like I can actually get the proxy itself pretty consistently. Okay, I didn't get the drop glide. I'm gonna go around there because I'm bitching out. I'm not too sure if I can make it straight onto the portal. Yeah, just a little animation proxy there. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna bother because. So, Twilight Harbor skip, I'm not doing that. I have done it before. Not that many times, but yeah, I'm not doing it. There's no reason for me to do it. Ideally, you would just fly across there, and you can, you will have to take at least one hit on the water. But it's also pretty difficult to only take one hit. Okay. Yeah, I don't understand that at all. That ramp has supercharge properties, and somehow you can get it to where you can supercharge just by doing essentially what I did there. Obviously, not exactly what I did, but I don't really understand it completely myself. I just know it's a thing, and that ramp is really weird. And yeah, my PB is not very good. It's been a while since I've actually, like, seriously grinded any percent. It's like, I just want to do 120 instead. Oh, wow, that was some highly questionable movement there. Messed up the quick thief with that, but I still have another chance for the other quick thief. And I messed it up again! God! But yeah, like, if I wanted to get a 42, I definitely could, but there's other things I want to do. But anyway, Nasty North rubber bands to all hell. So you want to stay close to him, even though you can outrun him. You don't want that. In fact, you can get him to push you. I'm pretty sure that's ideal. And get ready on time. So I can just race him through this room as these platforms slowly retract into the walls. Time.
Sorry I took so long. I kind of forgot about you.
What about Ganasty Gnork?
Nasty
Is toast.
His toast.
So now there's order again in the Dragon Kingdom?
Well, mostly. I've still got some treasure to pick up.
What will you do
So, the 80% ending is happier and more secure than the 100% ending of this game, which I feel like it should be the other way around, but I guess that's a cliche. Yeah, that was not very great, but I have another run to do tomorrow, so I have 2 runs to prepare for, so there's my excuse. Yeet. There's your yeet. So, that's it for Spyro 1 any %. Next is Spyro 2 any %.